It's a privilege for me once again at the beginning of a new year to share with you all my thoughts on GTS. Given the challenges we've had in 19 of securing and delivering a number of projects, the good news is that many of the difficult projects are now getting well under control, back in shape. But then with respect to the challenges for 20, the focus will be on order intake. Because we need to refresh the backlog, we need to get new orders secured at good margin and to secure the future beyond 2020. Revenue is reasonably well secured for 2020, but you need to look at order intake going for 2-3 years, and that's the focus that we now need to have. No, trust is absolutely essential for our business or any business. And key elements of trust is, first of all, will be creativity. And creativity in Thales, we're extremely rich in that. We have almost 30,000 R&D engineers in Thales, close to 3,000 in GTS, which are a real hub of creativity. Examples of creativity over the last year in GTS will be, first of all, New York, which we did in 2018, but we followed through in 2019. In New York, we had a real train set, some 9 carriages in New York, subway, 4 to 5 kilometers of track, where you could have real good fun as well as serious technical demonstration of showing the first steps of autonomy, which was a really great success for the customer and for ourselves. And when we take another example in Germany with Vodafone and 5G to really show the first real credible steps in terms of communication and again autonomy. So those were real elements of creativity that we're able to build on from 18 right throughout 19. The other key element of trust is resilience. And not just resilience of us as people who need to keep delivering on the goals that we have to, but really when you consider the environment all our equipment operates under. In Thales, we are everything from deep under the water right out to outer space. In GTS, our equipment has to operate in all temperatures, all environments. When you consider we have customers as far north as Norway, where the bitterness and the cold is quite challenging, to the hot environment of the Middle East in the middle of the Saudi desert, right to the high humid environments of Singapore, Hong Kong, and it has to operate 24/7 without any issues for the customer. Real resilience is necessary at each and one of those occasions. The other key element with respect to trust is really the sustainability. What do we mean by sustainability? The big important factor for ourselves in the world that we live, the planet we live, is really the pollution, the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide contamination. We have a tremendous responsibility, if not duty, in this environment. If you look at transport, both metro and mainline, we move people in the most efficient, effective way in reducing the carbon footprint. And actually, by end of 2019, the European Commission's plan under a Green Deal is to look at how to move road transport, air transport to the rail, and how to move that up to 75%. That's enormous. Today, it is less than 20%. So that ambition from a European Union point of view is a real ambition, and we have our role to play in that. The last element is on the human factor side, and what role the human will continue to play, not just as playing today, but as we put more and more intelligence onto the train, in terms of artificial intelligence. It's what does that really mean? What that means is that the multitude and thousands of decisions that are being taken today by the individual, by having more artificial intelligence, it deburdens the individual from having to make all these thousands of decisions down to a fewer decisions, but the key decisions. And that then allows that freedom to manage and allows a better, safer control. The evolution in terms of growth is extremely solid. Uniphase Studies, which is a market study that's done independently every 2 years, is showing a roughly about 3% annual growth in the overall marketplace. Why is that? It's because more and more of the population, close to 70% of the population, will be centered in cities, large cities. The second factor of that is that all of us live a more and more demanding life. Each of us need to get from A to B exactly when we need to, exactly when we want to, and that means the operations become 24/7, and that the need for that operation to be reliably there is absolutely intense. And we all are users of that. So the fact is that every second, every day, our equipment is being used and needs to be there reliably 100%. The response that we have to have for this increasing demand, our equipment needs to be even more reliable, more well supported and developed. We need to be smarter in terms of the health monitoring of our equipment, smarter by anticipating those failures, to anticipate the support the customer needs, and to avoid the moment of crisis where a piece of equipment fails and a mainline system or a metro is unavailable perhaps minutes or even hours at a time. By working on that and bringing that smartness and intelligence, we can anticipate, avoid and manage. Question then is really, what are we doing at HBL to respond to this challenge? In MLS, we're doing a number of things. First of all, from a people organizational, we have grown and are continuing to grow our engineering competence center in Romania, providing top-class engineering capability to help our competitiveness and to deliver solutions to the customer. On top of that, we've opened and are continuing to grow a digital competence center in Berlin, again providing solutions in a right format for the customer need. Saying all that, we also need to completely refresh our product offering in MLS and time to market. And the time to market of that is absolutely critical. Customers will not wait for us to provide our solutions if someone else can provide another solution in a better time period. And those key products for ourselves in 2020 will be everything from interlocking to traffic management systems to OBS. All of that needs to be delivered and available for 2020, and particularly the InnoTrans moment in Berlin, September 2020. With respect to our metro business in terms of URS, the key aspect we need to focus on in 2020 to support the demands of the customer is engineering process, safety engineering process. Good safety starts with good engineering, and during 2020 we'll be putting a renewed emphasis of ensuring our practices and processes in accordance with CENELEC are completely reinforced and are to the highest standard to make sure we reach all of those and make sure the customer is absolutely assured and trust our overall safety standards. The second element we need to do with respect to URS is the competitiveness. Competitiveness, again, like MLS, is a fundamental, and we need to drive the competitiveness to make sure in this demanding environment we're in that we're providing the excellent solutions to the customers at a market price that they are willing to pay. And part of that then is deployment. More and more of our opportunities in URS are what we call brownfield. You know, brownfield is where you're replacing an older system with a new system. That is very challenging because, again, customers do not want their systems to be down at all, and therefore you need to be able to install the equipment in the small windows of opportunity you have. Generally, that can be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. These are the challenges we need to be able to do in URS, in terms of process, in terms of competitiveness, and in terms of deployment. For ICS, in terms of our integrated communication and supervision business, there are two key elements. One is transforming the portfolio in terms of the product offering around integrated data-driven OCC and how to make that easier and simpler to install for the customer, less risky and a shorter time period. And the other is competitiveness, where with respect to, as we see the order intake, we can secure a substantial level of order intake from existing contracts and existing customers by offering more services in a dynamic and opportunistic way, and therefore that means we can secure for perhaps 50% of our order intake in this domain, a renewable annual order intake. And that would become a very good platform, good base for the ICS business. And finally, RCS, our revenue collection business, two key elements for that. One, really RCS back in the race in terms of full utilization of the Thales CAM network to put good, exciting offers to the customers and to show and demonstrate the strong integration of RCS, not just within GTS, but with the new business, global business unit of Thales, DIS, where the synergies there in terms of visual facial recognition to be able to operate smart gates, and also with respect to the synergies in addition that can have in terms of smart ticketing and smart integration can really give us new opportunities for this business. Cultural adaptation is extremely important. We've had a long and good history of that with respect to lean and agile. We've developed lean and agile and used lean and agile right back from early days in RCS and delivering good solutions in a timely way for Denmark. And we continue to do that in terms of the Engineering Competence Centre and the Digital Competence Centre that we have in Romania and Berlin. But the key aspect we need to have, not just as the lean and agile, is really the openness and how to be more dynamic in an open way, because no one person has any perfect answer to the perfect solution, but how we have both the courage and the ability to fuse that and to share that and to build the right solutions at the right time for the customer. The question we can ask ourselves now is, what do we need to do to really put all this in place, and have we got the right actions, the right approach to make this happen? I strongly believe we do, because we're making the right levels of investment in SFRD. We are making the right product refresh that the customer we know is asking for. We need to deliver those on time. That's absolutely fundamental. And we've got the right attitudes in terms of lean and agile on the approach of how to deliver all this in an open, dynamic way. And finally, trust. Trust is really the fuel for our business, and without trust, nothing will be possible to succeed. Trust in terms of internal between us. Are we doing the right things to be able to work together successfully in providing the right solutions at the right time for our customers? But also it's the trust going forward with our customers so that they can be confident that we're with them every step of the journey, solving their problems, because without that, we will not have an overall success. So trust, it's a fundamental. Without it, we will not be able to be successful in the business that we're in. We all realize and understand that 2019 was a challenging year. But we've worked extremely well together, and the dedication that I've seen from many of you delivering difficult projects in difficult environments, I found simply inspiring. This inspiration drives me for 2020 to work even harder and to work in a more dynamic way together to deliver the success that we all richly deserve for 2020. For 2020, I wish each and every one of you, your families, your loved ones, all the very success and great best wishes to all of you. Thank you very much.